Well, 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 it seems that Governor Tim Walz is not going to see the walls of the governor house next year because he's not running for re-election. I wonder if it's because of the accused Somalis doing a lot of fraud in Minnesota. Let's get to it.
Major breaking political news out of St. Paul, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Tim Walz will not seek re-election as governor, and what a fall from grace this has been for him. You might recall in the spring of 2023, he pushed through several progressive ideas to the state legislature that caught the attention of Barack Obama, who went to Twitter to give his endorsement for the programs, which eventually caught the attention of people like Kamala Harris, who chose him to be her running mate as the vice president. Introduced in
That was a good one. Who chose him to be her vice president mate. Fox, you never cease to amaze me.
Chicago at the convention in August of last year, a debate that was an absolute disaster with J.D. Vance at one point called himself a knucklehead, but after reportedly billions of dollars have been stolen from taxpayers by way of the state of Minnesota, Tim Walz says he will not seek a third term. What a remarkable 2 years in the national spotlight has been for him, Dana.
And Walz hit Trump in his announcement. He said Donald Trump and his allies in Washington, in St. Paul, and online want to make our state a colder, meaner place. They want to poison our people against each other by attacking our neighbors. And ultimately, they want to take away much of what makes Minnesota the best place in America to raise a family. Now,
I mean, there's probably other places because Minnesota is cold. I don't got time for that. But I mean, he was mayor for like what, 8 years? Or this about to be like his eighth year, something like that. So he'll get a little pension and stuff, whatever. But yeah, it's mainly because of what happened, homeboy, or what has been accused to happen. All right. And even if we come to find out that it wasn't as many daycare centers that's committing fraud, hey, if some of them are committing fraud, especially that place where somebody magically broke in and stole the records, like, come on now. Come on. People are tired of it, okay? And people want change. Yes, Somalis right now are somewhat of the new boogeymen of America and stuff like that. But you put yourself in it, homeboy. You put yourself in it because instead of saying, "Hey, listen, we are going to do what needs to be done," and come out in the forefront and be the champion of making sure that none of this fraud happens, instead of doing that, you allow your opponents to just come in and ransack. This is what you get. Because if you were a true politician, you would have seized on that opportunity to be first and be like, "Hey, look, you know what? Nick, what's the guy named? Well, I know his first name is Nick, but Nick, listen, before you even put this out there, let's work together so that we can make sure we know absolute what this fraud is." Because that's what I would have did. I would have this would have never happened in my state if I was governor. Because I would have made sure I'm up on it. Because as a person who consumes social media, I understand how powerful it is. And put in the comment section if you felt that he should have done more to make sure that some of that alleged fraud did not happen. If it happened or not, we don't know. But still, we have to make sure that if it did happen, it should never happen. And it's happened under his watch. So put in the comment section how you feel about that. Put in the comment section if you feel that you're glad that he's stepping down or he's not running for re-election, because he's not stepping down now. He's not resigning. He's just saying he's not running for re-election. So that's a win and whatever. But, I want to hear from you guys because you guys are awesome. And I want to just take this short break to thank you so much for watching this video. Really appreciate it, especially watching up to this point. Thank you, thank you. If you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe. All that good stuff will help us out continue to grow on this YouTube platform. Thank you for watching. Let's get back to it.
Okay, what else has been happening in this last month? Well, you have the discovery that there has been incredible amounts of fraud, and I think 98% of the people arrested are Somalis who are immigrants there in the state that were taking COVID funds, and basically, and Medicaid funds, and stealing them from the American people under his watch or his lack of watch. Now, remember, Kamala Harris chooses him as the vice presidential choice, partly because he couldn't conceivably upstage her. She says in her book that she didn't want to go with Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, who because he was Jewish. She actually says this. Okay, and then she goes with Tim Walz, and he was a disaster from beginning to end. He also has a lot of confidence in himself, but I think that it was very clear to him after he had some discussions over the weekend that he would lose. He was a drag on the Democratic Party nationally, and the best thing that he could have done for the party, actually, and probably for him and his family, is to take this action today, which is to decide not to run for re-election.
So the initial reporting suggests $1 billion has been stolen. Since then, that number's gone higher.
It's higher.
How high, we don't know where it ends. And there are suggestions that it could be similar in other states. Mary Catherine Ham joins us.
It could be similar in other states. It could go as high as 10 billion, 20 billion, right? But also, we have to think about this. It could involve other people. Right now, the spotlight is on Minnesota, and the boogeyman is the Somalis. But it could involve all types of people from all walks of life. We don't know. But only time will tell, because under this DOJ, Pam Bondi, she's a good-looking woman. She's doing her thing. They ain't playing no games. Uncle Big Daddy Trump is looking for everything, because they want that COVID money to be paid back.
Now with an initial reaction, MK, good morning to you. What do you think? Tim Walz?
Well, I was reliably told that he was a great fraud fighter, and that in fact the fraud was minimal or not happening. So I'm confused about how it suddenly became a fatal blow to his campaign. And I'm actually not confused, because the fact is that the numbers were gigantic. This is perhaps unprecedented amounts of fraud, and he does have to answer for it because he was on watch the entire time. And I think it's unlikely, given the scale, that anyone who had power in the Democratic Party at this time, of which the Somali community that was engaged in this is a core constituency, didn't know about it, or at least turn a very blind eye to it. And man, the fall from VP candidate to this is quite spectacular.
You have to wonder what the Minnesota Democrats are thinking, and they might be thinking this. It's reported that he met with Senator Amy Klobuchar over the weekend. And Senator Klobuchar has been trying from Washington, saying back home, you've got to get a handle on all of this. She is considering a run for governor. Perhaps they met and she let him know that he would lose in a primary to her.
Oh yeah, he would. He would. Okay, that's a given fact right there. Do I feel that the Republicans would win the governorship of Minnesota? Maybe not. But it would have been a stain. They would have won if he would have ran again, because they would have blasted him. They would have blasted him like, oh yeah, it's because of you that them dang on Somalis, stole that money. Even if they stole $10, that for me, let's say I'm an independent, and if I'm running against somebody that I know I could prove that did something stupid, I'm a run with it, because I'm petty like that. Like as a politician, you got to be somewhat petty, okay? Because if you want to win, you got to use the downfall of your opponents against him or her so that you'll be able to be the top dog. That's how I would do it. And I know that, that's what anybody else would do it. Put in the comment section if you ever ran for politics or think about running for politics, would you be petty? Because I know I would. All right. Maybe in my younger years when I ran for city councilman of my district of Brooklyn, New York, and Bed-Stuy, I wasn't as petty. Okay, the new me, the 40-year-old to kill, I will be petty because I know the game now. I know how it is. But I want to hear from you. Tell me how you would go about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think she would be a better choice than Tim Walz. She seems like the kind of person who wouldn't put up with this. But again, I would say anyone who was in power in the state of Minnesota had to know that some of this was going on. Whistleblowers were being very upfront about it. Folks, as you see from New York Times reporting and elsewhere, said basically the 2020 mind virus kept us from pointing out that this was happening because we were afraid because it was happening in marginalized communities, we couldn't stop them without being called racist. That is a total abdication of duty. And she's a senator from that state. So she had duties as well. So although she strikes me as a tough lady who can talk tough about this, there was stuff going on while she was on the watch as well.
Mary Catherine, there's reports that Somali Americans number about 100,000 in Minnesota. And it's our understanding that you can't win a statewide race unless you have their vote. And you just mentioned the accusation of racism. And that's pretty much what the message was out of Minnesota. Anybody who was pointing fingers at what was going on there, you were accused of being a racist. Well, now that cover has been blown.
True. It has been blown and it will continue to be blown because people are not having it anymore. People are tired of being called racist when they're not racist. Okay. You could talk about people committing certain felonies, certain fraud, certain things, especially if they've done it. You can talk about it and not be racist. Now, if you go ahead and you go around talking about that you hate certain people based on off the color of their skin, based off their religion, their ethnicity, all that stuff, then that's being racist. But people know better not to be that blatantly stupid because they're not going to do that. All right. They're going to figure out ways to fandangle it and stuff like that. And that's okay. You know, I don't really care. I don't really worry about that. As long as I know that people are living their life, doing what they got to do, living good, you know, making sure that moves are made and we're living in friendship, truth, and love, I'm cool about it. All right. So, like, you know, calling people racist when they really not, especially if they just want to find out if there's fraud or stuff like that, whether it's a little, whether it's a lot, cool. You know, that's what needs to be done. But I'm going to leave the video right here in the description box. You guys can watch the whole thing if you want to. Shout out to Fox News. Fox News is always funny to me because sometimes the things that they be reporting on is hella funny. But this thing right here with Governor Tim Walz, you know, toodles, Felicia, you about to go. And, you know, it is what it is. It really is what it is. You know, I kind of felt that this was the beginning of the end for him when I saw certain things and did a lot of the research. And I was like, ooh, this don't look good, homeboy. This does not look good. And I wondered if he was going to step down, but I didn't really want to report on it because I didn't want to say something that is not. But now he's not stepping down, but he's just not going to run for re-election. And hey, it is what it is.